Our next speaker then is Cathal Fitzgerald. He's director at LeBruin and chair of Arigna Group. So he's an entrepreneur and an investor in finance and sustainability. The finance and sustainability sector. He holds an MBA from Boston College and is CFA charter holder. As chairman of Arigna Fuels and Group, he is responsible for overseeing the transition from a fossil fuel producer to biochar. Arigna commissioned two 35,000 metric ton biochar machines only last year, making it one of the largest biochar operations in the world, and I think the largest in Europe as well, as far as I'm aware. So, if you can welcome to the stage, Cathal. Thank you very much. Cathal Fitzgerald. Thank you.
Thanks, Noel. So I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes or so explaining as to how Arigna came to have one of the largest biochar production facilities in Europe, where we are now, the opportunities and the challenges that we face, and the lessons that we've learned along the journey. So I just want to give you a little bit about the company itself. The company has its production facility in Ireland, and as you would guess, it's in Arigna in County Roscommon. It has 4 distribution facilities in the UK. It has 65 employees, and revenues are approximately 16 million euros per annum. And as Noel mentioned, unusually, we have the largest operating biochar production facility in Europe and one of the largest in the world. One of the things that's unusual about Arigna is that it's unusual in the way that it came to biochar, in that it didn't sort of seek out biochar. It actually arrived at the conclusion that biochar was the most suitable material to help in its transition from fossil fuels. It was also unusual that it focused on only one aspect of biochar, which is that it's a good coal substitute. And it's only really in the last 12 months that we've focused on the other uses of biochar. And biochar does have many other uses, as well as being an alternative for fossil fuel. It can be a soil enhancer for water and nutrient retention, and it also can be an input into building materials for carbon footprint reduction. So, for the uninitiated, what is biochar? Well, simply put, biochar is made from heating up organic materials in the absence of oxygen. The process is called pyrolysis. The result is biochar, which is essentially biocarbon, and also some synthetic gas. Now, almost any organic material can be used, and depending on the process temperature, which can range between 300 and 700 degrees centigrade, there will be a varying quantities of biochar and syngas. And how the biochar is used determines if it's carbon neutral or carbon negative, that is sequestering carbon. If the biochar is used to replace a fossil fuel, such as coal, it's carbon neutral. If it's used in agriculture as a soil amendment, or it would be considered carbon negative, because it's actually sequestering carbon. So both are good. Sequestration is better, but it's more challenging. The issue with sequestration is that you have to find uses that are large and profitable. So I just want to give you a little bit about Arigna's journey and its transition, because there's a lot of talk about the new bioeconomy, etc., and a lot of it is focused on new shiny plants. But how you get there for an existing company is important. The company was founded over 100 years ago, and some of you may remember it or know of it at least, as a mining company extracting coal from Ireland's only coal mine for power generation in Ireland. But as the coal ran out, and power generation moved to other fuels, it was clear that the company needed to transition to other markets and products. So it began to supply coal to the domestic market. In the late 1980s, recognising that smoky coal would be phased out, Arigna built a 70,000 metric tonne state-of-the-art hot cure facility and started to manufacture low-smoke coal for the Irish and UK markets. And then in 2010, Arigna started to work on a sustainable alternative to coal and solid fuels in general. And after much research and testing, Arigna concluded that the best alternative was a biochar-based product with, strangely enough, olive stones as the feedstock. Now, why olive stones? Well, because olive stones, they are dry, they are dense, and they're available in large quantities. They are a byproduct from the production of olive oil, and they're usually discarded, and they decompose, thus emitting GHGs. In 2012, work commenced on a pyrolysis reactor and process testing began, because the process is just as important as the feedstock. And in 2017, the reactor with an annual capacity of 7,000 metric tons was commissioned, and Arigna began to manufacture and sell the product Harvest Flame as a sustainable solid fuel replacement primarily for coal. Now, Harvest Flame is 100% sustainable. It's made from olive stone biochar. The production process itself is highly efficient, as the syngas is used in the thermal oxidizer to run the process. In 2023, 2 very large reactors were purchased and commissioned. Each reactor has an annual capacity of 35,000 metric tons. One is used as the reactor and one is used as a dryer. And the machines are operating at full capacity, and Harvest Flame is being produced. It's available in Woodies, the range, and from mid-November will be available in Aldi. So these are big breakthroughs for us. And importantly, we also have a foothold in the very important UK market. And as I say, as far as we are aware, we have the largest operating biochar facility in Europe. So I just want to mention something about research, because people will think of our background, coal, and they think, that's a sort of a low-tech company. But when you start to move into biofuels, what you're actually talking about is an awful lot of research, a long time, and a lot of money. So the company's research capabilities are a key strength. Biochar is actually relatively easy to make in small quantities, and there are many highly beneficial applications. What's much harder to do is to scale production and to sell a biochar product profitably. To date, Arigna has invested over 10 million in research facilities and production machinery. We have a research facility that can be used to test different biomass residues and also different process variations. We have 2 research staff and very high quality equipment. We are actually contracted by government agencies to analyse other burning products for regulatory compliance. And one of the key lessons that we've learned is that large industrial purchasers of biochar have very different requirements. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and the requirements differ in terms of carbon content and also the other qualities of the biochar. And the other thing is that they expect very detailed analysis of the biochar when it's being produced at scale. That is not what's coming out of a lab. And as such, it's crucial that the production process is versatile and the biochar can be manufactured to customer requirements. Our focus is very much on applied research. We've demonstrated that we can achieve scale. We can make lots of biochar, but to succeed, we must produce biochar products that the market actually wants, will pay for, and give us an economic return. So the current situation is that we've purchased and, as I've mentioned, and commissioned 2 large biochar machines, and they're now operating at full capacity. One is a reactor, one is a dryer. We can provide large quantities of biochar at a variety of carbon concentrations and in a variety of grades. We have excellent research facilities. We have a lot of embedded knowledge and expertise. We can use a variety of feedstocks if required. Our main product, as I've mentioned, is Harvest Flame, a biofuel for domestic use in Ireland and the UK. And we can adapt our production processes to industrial customer requirements. But what of the future and what are the opportunities? Well, as I said, the first and largest opportunity for us is replacing solid fuel in domestic heating in Ireland and the UK. If Arigna was to replace all the smokeless coal it produces with Harvest Flame, this would be a reduction of approximately 120,000 metric tons of CO2 that's emitted from fossil fuel from Ireland every single year. Another related opportunity is the industrial fuel market to replace fossil fuels in cement manufacturing. Coal and pet coke are used to bring cement kilns up to the required temperature. Biochar is a good substitute, but like a lot of alternative sustainable products, it's more expensive. Another interesting opportunity that presents itself to us is the barbecue briquette market. With minor modifications to Harvest Flame, the product can be used as a sustainable replacement for the very unsustainable charcoal that's currently being used. And also the new distribution channels that we've opened, such as Aldi and Woodies, etc., for Harvest Flame, will be ideal distribution channels for sustainable barbecue briquettes. But in the other areas, that sort of the non-fuel areas, there's opportunities for us as well. And one is in anaerobic digestion. Like, added to the process, biochar can increase gas yields by up to 17%. But of greater importance, it can actually help deal with one of the key challenges in AD, which is the treatment of the digestate, a byproduct of AD. If the digestate can be dried to a moisture content of less than 30%, it can be turned into biochar for sequestration. We will shortly be commencing trials with one of the large AD producers. In agriculture, biochar can sequester carbon by adding it to soil as a soil amendment or in conjunction with fertilizers. Biochar, being porous, promotes root growth and it reduces the amount of fertilizer relative to current practices, while also reducing runoff into watercourses. And IrBEA is currently involved in a trial whereby GAA pitches in County Kildare have been treated with a combination of plant growth promoting bacteria, biochar and an organic fertilizer with the aim of improving the soil quality on the pitches and eliminating chemical fertilizer use. I was there last week just reviewing those trials, and the GAA club itself is very happy with the outcome to date. In horticulture, biochar is a prime candidate to replace peat as a growing medium in the commercial and retail sectors. Peat is no longer harvested in Ireland at any scale, and a replacement is urgently required. A little known fact that was told to us by Teagasc is that 80% of all mushrooms consumed in the UK are grown here in Ireland. Why? Because we have lots of peat, and peat is an excellent growing medium. We no longer have it. So their concern is that if we don't replace peat, we could lose that industry very quickly. So we're working with a leading manufacturer of horticultural products to develop a peat replacement product for both the gardening market and the horticulture sector. Biochar can also be used in non-structural building materials as a replacement for some carbon-intensive ingredients. So initial candidates are tiles, paving, UPVC, and we're cooperating with a UPVC manufacturer to produce a UPVC that contains biochar. Because the carbon is sequestered into the product, high quality carbon credits can be generated. The product is currently being undergoing tests to ensure that it meets the same standards as UPVC. And it's been a topic that's been touched upon earlier on today, is the whole concept of carbon offsets. And this is a longer term opportunity for us in the carbon capture, utilisation and storage area. If you've reviewed Ireland's Climate Action Plan and the country's progress to date at decarbonising the economy, you will very quickly arrive at the conclusion that we need CCUS and lots of it to achieve our climate goals. We won't get there by decarbonising the economy. And biochar is currently the most cost-effective method of large-scale sequestration. So, in conclusion, we have the expertise to produce large quantities of high-quality biochar right now, and we have the largest operating biochar facility in Europe. The transition of the domestic fuel market from fossil fuel and wood to sustainable fuels is likely to evolve quickly, but it has a limited lifespan, although it's probably going to take a lot longer than people think. Scale, as we've found out, is crucial for industrial customers. But achieving scale is complicated, and with scale comes challenges and opportunities that are very different than those of small-scale production. Different end-use markets have different product requirements and different economics, and you have to be able to adapt to the market. So in the medium term, there are several opportunities: anaerobic digestion, agriculture and horticulture, non-structural building products, CCU and CCUS. And as I've mentioned, Arigna has trials ongoing in all of these areas. But we do face our challenges. For Arigna, we must simultaneously generate awareness of our achievements and capabilities. We must help create biochar markets. We need to expand internationally, and crucially, we need to sell our products. So thank you for your time. I'm happy to take any questions if there is time. And we have a stand over there with Siobhan, Rob, and Sarah there, and some biochar-related products if you want to take a look. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cathal. So again, it's a very innovative business which has shown some real potential in the country, and the fact that we now have the largest plant in Europe is something we can be very happy to see.